My name is Nancy, I'm 65 years old, and on the night of my son's wedding, one that I had spent months helping pay for, my future daughter-in-law looked me dead in the eyes, in front of her bridesmaids, and called me a fat pig who should stay out of the photos. I thought that was the worst part of my night. But then her father realized who I really was, the woman who silently bought the company he used to brag about owning, the one he thought he sold to a private investor, never knowing that private investor was me. And that moment, that was when the real revenge began. This is my story. Messy. Emotional. Petty. Painful. And oh, so satisfying. I was never supposed to be the problem mother-in-law. I always pictured myself as the gentle, cookie-baking future mother-in-law. You know, the type who welcomes everyone, smiles too much, cries at weddings, all that. But life doesn't always give you the story you expect. My son, Daniel, is 32. Smart. Handsome. A software engineer who thinks too much and speaks too little. His fiancée, Brianna. Well, let's just say she walked into our lives like she owned the air around her. Beautiful? Yes. Charming? When she wanted to be. Respectful? Only when people were watching. But Daniel loved her, so I tried. I really tried. I complimented her dresses. I took her to lunch. I offered to help with wedding planning. I even agreed to pay for part of the wedding, something she accepted without even saying thank you. But I never imagined the humiliation she had planned for me. The wedding morning, where everything went wrong, the wedding was set in a luxury ballroom overlooking the city skyline. I arrived early wearing a navy blue gown I'd spent too much money on but told myself I deserved. I'd lost my husband 5 years earlier, and this was the first big family event I wasn't attending as a wife. Just a mother. I was nervous. Emotional. A little lonely. But I walked in with my head high. When I went backstage to greet the bridal party, everything froze. Brianna turned around, her makeup artist still dusting glitter on her eyelids, and she looked me up and down like I was street trash that wandered in by mistake. "Oh," she said, loud enough for the bridesmaids to hear. "You're wearing that?" The room went silent. I smiled, trying not to crumble. "It's the dress Daniel said he liked." She smirked. "Well, Daniel lies sometimes to protect your feelings." My heart sank. But I kept breathing. Then came the moment that ripped me open. She leaned in, wrinkling her nose, and whispered, "Honestly, you look like a fat pig in that dress. Please stay out of the main photos. I don't want you ruining the aesthetic." I froze. A bridesmaid gasped. Another avoided eye contact. Brianna flicked her hair and said, louder this time, "You can stand at the back." Way at the back. I felt heat rise in my face, shame burning me alive. I wanted to defend myself, but words wouldn't come. I nodded slowly, turned around, and walked away, my throat tightening. She wasn't done. As I was almost out the door, she called out, "And try not to eat too much at the buffet, okay?" Laughter. Actual laughter. From grown women. That was the moment something inside me changed. Snapped. Awoke. Revenge didn't come to me instantly. But the seed was planted right there. No one knew who I really was. What Brianna didn't know, what no one at that wedding knew, was that I was not just Nancy, the widowed mom who baked pies and clipped coupons. Years earlier, after my husband passed, I invested the insurance money carefully. Quietly. Smartly. And one of my biggest investments? A manufacturing company that was going bankrupt because its owner, Brianna's father, Douglas, had driven it into the ground with ego and bad management. He put it on the market. He hoped a big corporate buyer would swoop in. Instead, I did. Through a corporate attorney. Through a trust fund with a generic name. He never knew the buyer was a 65-year-old woman who drove a Toyota and wore Walmart sweaters. And after buying it, I replaced him with competent leadership. Tripled profits. and expanded into 3 new states. So when I saw Douglas at the wedding, loud, chest puffed out, bragging about the glory days of owning a major company, I said nothing. He was the kind of man who judged worth by money, by dresses, by bodies. Exactly the type who raised someone like Brianna. And exactly the type who would soon learn the truth. I stood where Brianna told me to, at the very back. Behind relatives I didn't know. Behind friends who never met me. Behind a column that blocked half my view. But even from the shadows, I saw everything. I saw Brianna's father give a flowery speech about our family's legacy and how he hoped Daniel would learn from a man who built empires. I nearly choked. I saw Brianna walk down the aisle like she was the Queen of England. I saw Daniel, my sweet boy, smile lovingly at her, not knowing how cruel she truly was when his back was turned. And I saw Brianna glare at me during the vows, making sure I stayed in my place. Revenge wasn't on my mind during the ceremony. Not yet. But humiliation has a way of fermenting inside you. And when it ferments long enough, it becomes fire. After the ceremony, I quietly approached the photographer. "Please don't worry," I whispered. "I'll stay out of the main pictures. The bride prefers it." The photographer looked horrified. "That's ridiculous. You're the mother of the groom." But I gently shook my head. "It's fine." Because by then, something bigger was brewing in my mind. I saw Douglas at a table surrounded by businessmen, bragging loudly about his past company as if he still owned it. I overheard him say, "The idiot who bought my company probably has no idea how to run it. Investment monkeys, the whole lot of them." I almost laughed, because not only was I the idiot, I was the one who saved the company he destroyed. Then one of the men asked, "Didn't a trust buy you out?" "Evergreen Holdings?" My heart skipped. Douglas nodded confidently. "Some faceless shareholder group. Didn't even meet them. Probably some board of old guys." I sipped my water. "Oh, Douglas. You have no idea." But he was about to. It happened when Daniel took me to meet one of his coworkers. "Mom," he said gently, "why were you sitting so far away?" "Were the seats full?" I opened my mouth to tell him. But before I could speak, Brianna suddenly grabbed Daniel's arm and hissed she was fine. She wanted to sit there. Wanted? I bit my lip. Then fate intervened. Because at that exact moment one of the executives from my company, my CFO, Mark, walked into the wedding. He approached me with a warm smile. "Nancy, I didn't expect to see you so early next week. Congratulations on your son's big day." Brianna's eyebrows shot up. "You two know each other?" Mark laughed. "Well, yes. She's the owner of—" I cut him off too late. Because Douglas stood right there, jaw slack, eyes bulging. "Owner of what?" Mark blinked. "Evergreen Holdings." Silence. Absolute, graveyard silence. Douglas choked on his drink. "Evergreen. Is you?" I smiled politely. "Yes. For about 4 years now." "And you're the one who bought my company?" "Yes." A bridesmaid dropped her fork. Someone gasped. Brianna's face drained of color. Douglas stuttered. I didn't know, it was you." Mark added innocently, "You should see the numbers this year. Best quarter since she took over." Brianna looked at her father, then at me, in pure horror. This was the moment the universe handed me a microphone. I turned to Brianna first. "All evening," I said softly, "you've treated me like someone beneath you. Someone whose body, weight, and presence embarrass you." Her jaw clenched. "But the truth is, Brianna, you never knew who you were talking to." I looked at Douglas. "And neither did you." By now, half the wedding guests were watching. Brianna whispered, "Daniel, she's lying," but Daniel raised a hand. "Let her finish." My voice didn't shake. Not once. Brianna, you insulted me. Humiliated me. Mocked my body. Ordered me out of photos at my own son's wedding. She sputtered, it was a joke. No. It wasn't. I took a breath. And Douglas, you brag so much about your business acumen, but the company you lost thrived without you. It thrives because I rebuilt what you broke. Someone murmured, oh my God. I continued, I came here tonight to celebrate my son. I had no intention of revealing any of this. But respect matters. Kindness matters. And since neither of you seem to understand those values, consider this your lesson. Brianna's eyes filled with tears. Douglas' face burned red. Daniel stared at them both like seeing them for the first time. Daniel stepped forward, voice trembling with anger. You humiliated my mother? Brianna shook her head frantically. It wasn't serious. Did you call her a fat pig? Silence. Her silence was her confession. Daniel exhaled sharply. I don't think I know you at all, Brianna. Her father barked, Daniel, control your woman. Daniel turned on him like ice. My wife just verbally abused my mother. And you expect me to defend her? The ballroom held its breath. Then Daniel took my hand. Mom, you're coming with me. Now. We walked out. The three of us. Me, Daniel, and Mark, who said quietly, well. That escalated beautifully. Later that night, Daniel told me he was staying at my house. He needed space. Time. Clarity. And Brianna, she tried calling. Texting. Begging. But Daniel saw who she truly was. The marriage didn't survive 6 months. As for Douglas, he stopped bragging. People told me he grew quiet afterward, humbled, embarrassed that the old woman he ignored was the mastermind who saved the company he destroyed. And me? I didn't seek revenge that night. I simply revealed the truth. But sometimes the truth is the sharpest blade of all. I'm 65, and I've spent most of my life forgiving people who didn't deserve it. But that night taught me something important. Revenge doesn't always mean cruelty. Sometimes, it simply means letting people face the reality they tried to hide behind insults and arrogance. Brianna called me a fat pig. Her father dismissed me as insignificant. But when the truth came out, when they realized the woman they mocked was the very person who held power over everything they bragged about, their world cracked. And for the first time in years I didn't feel small. Or embarrassed. Or alone. I felt strong. I felt respected. I felt like myself again. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this: never underestimate the quiet one. Someone's appearance tells you nothing about their power. Their worth. Their story. Their fire. I may be older. Softer. Rounder. But I am far from weak. And I will never again let anyone, not a bride, not a businessman, not anyone, tell me where I'm allowed to stand. Because I know exactly who I am. And now, so do they.